Okay, take a journey with me to Fantasyland where we gonna be Jerry Jones for the day, minus the baby mama drama and the billions, cause if I had this money, I would be somewhere on the yacht. I would let the football people be football people, and I would be minding my business somewhere floating, on one of these oceans or seas somewhere. But let's just say, for instance, that you have the 24th pick in the draft. Who would you take? Let's say best case scenario that you got Dean sitting there, you got Jameson Williams sitting there, you got Traylon Burks sitting there, you got all these big time players at every position that you need. What is the Cowboys big board? Because I wish I could know, because that would answer a lot of these questions. We don't know how much the Cowboys like some of these players or how little they like some of these players. Because at 24, the chances of you just landing someone like, Jordan Davis falling that far, or really Nakobe Dean falling that far, it's just almost unrealistic. But the thing about the draft, you never know what's going to happen. Maybe some of these teams just draft a lot of these quarterbacks, but this is one really weird year where you don't have a run of quarterbacks that's going to be at the top of the draft. So that kind of hinders the rest of the draft for people like us, because we don't need a quarterback. We got the great Dak Prescott. But for other teams and for other players, man, it's really kind of messing us up, because normally in a normal draft, at the top, you'll at least have 2 to 3, maybe 4 quarterbacks go in the top 10 or top 15 in almost every draft. But this draft is a little peculiar, and it's only like one quarterback. I think Malik Willis, I believe his name is. Never heard of him. I'm not that well versed in college football, but he's like the only quarterback projected to go in the top 15, if I'm not mistaken. So that kind of messes up the rest of the board, and it makes it unpredictable. It's really not a stern #1 draft pick either. A lot of people going back and forth on who these teams gonna draft in the first round and at the very top of it. So this board could fall in a number of ways, and the Cowboys, with so many holes that we got, such a lackluster free agency, it really puts us in a bind, because we pretty much gonna have to just wait and see what happens. So when Jerry said something about trading up, that really make a little sense, because we got some holes that we can't play around with. We can't beat around the bush with some of these holes that we got. We need starters in some of these positions. We can't have projects in these positions. We can't have people who we can't depend on in some of these positions that we lacking in, man. So it brings me the question, what position are they gonna value the most? Because Jerry and Mike McCarthy hit us with a curveball when they drafted CeeDee Lamb. Let's say, for instance, we get wiped out like we did last year with the cornerbacks off the board, and we got the constellation prize of Kevin Joseph, ball man fat. But let's say, for instance, the 2-3 offensive linemen that you like off the board, who would you take then? Like, would you take a wide receiver, or is one of these receivers so high on your board that you will overlook an offensive lineman and just go get them? These are unanswered questions, and with us having so many different holes in this roster, like, it could go any kind of way. And I'm running through these draft simulators, and I had one of them. It had Jameson Williams there, it had Nakobe Dean there, it had Kenyon Green there, it had a couple of more people who, Traylon Burks. It might come down to what position they value the most, what player they want the most. And that's just a toss-up, because we can't see they big boys, so we don't know. But hopefully they are evaluating these players correctly, because if not, we could end up with a lemon in the first round if they don't handle this situation correctly. Because 24 is a decent spot to sit at when it's so much uncertainty at the top of the draft this year in particular positions. But we're gonna have to execute this perfectly for this team to be able to at least sustain the level we was last year or even get better. But it might not be the sexiest pick, it might not be the most hyped or the most, talked about pick, but it might be in our best interest to go guard or tackle. Either get Lindenbaum or either Zion Johnson. But these situations could happen, man, and a lot of the most appealing players could just be off the board. So in my opinion, if the price is not too steep, maybe you might want to keep in mind to move up a couple of notches, a couple of spaces, maybe from 24 to like 20 or 19. I wonder how steep that price would be. But of course, the Cowboys are cheap, so we're not trying to go from 24 to 10 or nothing like that. That's just out the question. So we don't want to have Connor McGovern at guard, and quite frankly, Tyler Biadasz isn't just cemented at center either. Like that whole left side, that whole right side is in question at this point. And I believe that made the whole line suffer last year. Bosa from the 49ers just murderized us on the line last year in that game. Every time Dak dropping back, he had people all over him, right in his lap. So, that's gonna mess up any quarterback. They dogged out Dak, and you seen what happened to Aaron Rodgers the next week. So it wasn't just on Dak. This offensive line did not perform to the level that they needed to perform. And, that's what we needed at the time. So that's probably gonna have to be where we go. Zion Johnson, Tyler Lindenbaum, one of those unsexy, unhyped picks, but might pay off in the long run for like a Zach Martin 10-year span. I don't know if they that caliber, but offensive linemen give you good value in the first round from the Dallas Cowboys standpoint. But that's all I got for you today, man. Just holla at your boy Landlord from Alabama. Like, share, comment, man. I appreciate y'all helping me get to 100. Now the next goal is 150 subscribers. Might be small to you, but that's something I'm trying to do and trying to build up to, man. Just holla at your boy. And like I say, 1K, one love, Cowboys Nation. Let's go.